Good afternoon, sweet ladies. Thank you for joining us in Far Above Rubies today. I'm so glad that each of you are here. Your reading focus for today is going to be Acts chapter 23. And remember, as I've stated the last couple of days, the last couple of chapters and today are running together to tell a story. So make sure that if you've missed something, you go back and read so that you're all caught up, okay? In today's story about Paul, we still find him in chains with the Roman guard, but there's a twist. There's a plot twist here happening in Paul's story. And there are some Jews that say that they're going on a hunger strike. That's literally what they say. They're going on a hunger strike until they are able to kill Paul because they hate him so much and what he stands for so much that they are bound and determined that they are going to kill him. And when someone Paul's related to gets wind of this, he goes and runs and tells Paul, and Paul is able to share that with the Roman guard and then share it with the commander over that Roman guard because he has created a rapport, as we saw in yesterday's devotional, with these people. And what I find truly beautiful about this story is that the Roman guard commander that is over Paul, and while he's in his custody, takes and says, you know what, I'm going to send 100 guards and 70 horsemen and 100 of this guy and 100 of that guy to protect you, and I'm sending you straight to the governor because I'm afraid that these guys are going to try and kill you here. And so while Paul finds himself in prison essentially right now, he doesn't maybe understand going into this situation before he gets there and he's shackled in chains that this prison is for his protection. God has used this prison for his protection. If Paul were out wandering the streets of Jerusalem at this moment, this group of 40 men that have decided to kill him would have easy access and probably not have too much trouble getting to Paul and killing him. But instead, their craziness, their conspiracy has caused him to be arrested under basically no reason except his own protection. The Roman guards were trying to find out why these people wanted him dead and then figured out there was no reason under the law. And when this happens, the Roman guards, Roman commanders, take and send him heavily guarded and heavily protected someplace else, okay? Now, Paul's life goes on. Other people are not so kind to him. Not every Roman guard he's going to come in contact with is going to treat him well. But in this moment, this prison that Paul finds himself in is for his protection. Sweet ladies, if we could only realize that the Lord does not do anything by accident. The Lord does not deal in coincidence. And sometimes when we find ourselves bound, when we find not by spiritual things, but sometimes when we find ourselves closed in, we find ourselves hitting a wall in our lives that we don't always understand that God has done this for our own protection. Paul's situation in this moment was not ideal. It wasn't fun. He wasn't sitting in a comfy chair eating cupcakes. Paul was in a Roman prison, and yet God used that Roman prison in this moment to spare his life. The situation you might find yourself in may be difficult. It might not be easy. It might not be a bed of roses. It might not be puppy dogs and sunshine and tulips. But God is using that situation for your protection. There is something that he is building a hedge around about you for. This prison that Paul was in was a hedge for him. A hedge looks an awful lot like a prison when you're on the inside sometimes. But if you can open your spiritual eyes and see that the Lord is protecting you, the Lord has put walls around you in this moment to protect you from something worse than those four walls. What a beautiful and precious gift and blessing that is when we can understand, when we can open our spiritual eyes and see what the Lord is doing in our lives. Go read Acts chapter 23 and think about how this relates to your life. Not all walls are put there for our protection. Some we have to pray through, but it takes spiritual discernment. It takes prayer. It takes intimacy with the Lord to discern when God has put a wall up for our protection, and instead of fighting against it, we simply need to say, okay, God, I'm here and I'm trusting in the protection that you have put around me. I'm trusting in the walls that you have to keep me safe from whatever's on the other side that you don't want getting to me. We need to have intimacy with the Lord. We need to have prayer time with the Lord so that we can have that discernment to know when that wall is there to hold us safe and when that wall is there for us to push through in the Spirit. Go read Acts chapter 23. Be blessed by it today. If no one's told you lately, you are loved, you are cherished, you are valuable, you have worth, my sweet friend. And that worth is far above rubies. I love you all so much. You've got a couple of wonderful guest speakers coming to you the next couple of days. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you let them know that you are there and listening. I love you all. God bless you.